But when you survey, it doesn't matter what antenatal classes, if you start asking your woman, so what did you find really useful that you learned at the antenatal classes, what did you use in labour? It's resounding often nothing.
The childbirth classes are very good. They are giving people information and they are giving people choices and helping people learn about things. It's very important. Skills should be something that families do. It's like reading a road code, but you have to learn to drive. So you have to keep on going back that those classes are important, your care is important, but they have things to do. And we're not the only skills-based approach. I mean, you have hypnobabies, hypnobirth, you still have Lamaze, Bradley method, active birth to some degree are. But what you're looking for in any resource is that it has breathing and relaxation and a way to prepare your body for giving birth. Now, Andrea said, the elective cesareans. From our viewpoint, if you have working with people who are going to have elective cesareans, we think you need to say to them, you didn't get pregnant to have a cesarean or a vaginal birth, you got pregnant to have a baby. So you can still, as a woman and as a couple, totally enjoy preparing your body to give birth to this baby and learn skills to work with your baby's efforts to be born on the way to the hospital while being prepped and in surgery. I think that it's really important that we are inclusive of all pregnancy and all births. We are really recommending that you get the pink kit to them at 24 weeks. And now the reason we start at 24 weeks is that if you start at 32 weeks, the mind is going. It's hard to cram it all in, right?
And if they're looking like they need a bit of convincing, I would talk statistics to them. That the chances are that they have by doing nothing, they will have around about a 70 to 73% chance of pushing their baby out. And pushing their baby out unassisted, that there is a 30% intervention rate. Then it's, well, what skills are you going to bring to birth to achieve that? Because by chancing it and just rocking up on the day and expecting your body to just do it, you have a 70% chance of just pushing this baby out. If you want to increase that to 90%, then learn some skills. If you want to feel good about the birth that you have, put in some skills. And if we want to have a language that we can talk easily without getting into any great debates while you're in between contractions, then learn some skills.
Helping men to understand that this is the job as men who are becoming fathers, to help to reduce the trauma and suffering and to help their baby get out, and to do this as a family. 80% over the years, 80% of the men will do the internal work. Anything anybody learns that gives them an upper hand on what they didn't know is a success, And you'd be surprised. And a lot of people, and Andrea and Susie will tell you this, people who haven't learned as much will tell you, I'll learn more next time. Most men, if they see a woman breathing in labor, they can see she's relaxed here. They can hear how she's breathing. That woman might be saying to herself, I hate it. But she is using her managing skills to work alongside of her negative voice. All of us women do not hold up a sign saying I'm using the pelvic floor now.
Yeah.
But if a woman starts to do this, he can hear that indicates that she is responding to pain. And he will step in right away. Instead of taking the belief, women have always birthed, they therefore know what they're doing. He knows that she at that moment is struggling with the pain. He doesn't want her to suffer. So he steps right in and helps her. She feels good because she's been seen and heard.
At 28 weeks, they're either giving me a kickback and we get it right and start again. Or we're moving on and go, usually checking in that they've got the hang of the directed breathing. But by this stage, we're building up to getting more skills-based birth plans together.
There's no societal expectation for them to. Right? It's not, and it's all it is. It's just no societal expectation. We just need to give the message over and over again and tell them to tell their friends. To say, you've learned skills, tell your friends they need to learn skills, and you'll find people coming more frequently with a willingness. 32 to 34 weeks, the the CD on the internal work.
I mean, these are the things that we found made it, when women started getting into the internal massage.
So we'll talk just a wee bit about what messages we've given each other inaccurately. Back labor. What's the standard of how to deal with back labor? One's press in on the sacrum, right? What does that do for the space that the baby needs?
Shuts it down.
Sure. Why does it help women? Because it reduces her pain. But is she working with her baby's efforts? No. In this same way, we can reduce the pain with back labor, but instead, why don't we teach women to open their sacrum, to create space in their pelvis, to let their baby out? What are we doing? And what have we been doing? In this statistics that Andrea got from the ministry, pain relief, the first one was positional. I said, what's positional? She said, changing position. So let's think about that. All of you know that you can have women who are having very, very effective, intense contractions who look at you and go, this is just too much. And women are told, get on your hands and knees. And the labor goes off. That's using positional to reduce pain. That's not effective. We have to want to have effective contractions. We want to learn to cope and manage the pain, the intensity, but it's working with our baby. If we're blessed with an effective bell-shaped curve contraction that is effective, we should be happy and work with that because our baby is telling us there is no tension in our body, we are not bending its space, we are not compressing its avenue in its journey down through and out of us. We should be encouraged to work with that. If we're using pain relief positionally to get women to reduce their pain, we can be basically hindering the laboring process. 36 weeks, positions, phases of contraction. A lot of us are told basically you have a contraction, you don't have a contraction. We've broken it down to 5 phases because if a woman can get it together at the beginning, maybe she can't keep it together as the pain goes up, maybe she can't keep it at the peak, but her husband can help her, she can help herself as it comes down, and there's a space in between. So we know that there are 5 different places and 5 different time frames that we can work with this, then there's never a time when we can't not work. A lot of people feel that you manage labor and then you stop managing labor and you have no control over this. So you can't control the contractions. All you can control is your response to them.
38 weeks is usually when I'm checking in. Usually, these days the birth plans are pretty much skills based. I only really want to know what positions they feel more open and what position, whether they've been doing the internal massage. The rest is alright. Well, if you want an epidural, we'll get to that, but we've discussed it and those sort of things. But and it's like with the internals, the last thing I want to know is actually how dilated they are. Usually the only thing I want to know is what's holding that baby back. And when we actually just practice, the amount of time they're busy studying these, they think they've got it, and then the first Braxton Hicks or painful tightening of any description they have, they bring out, oh, there's so much pain while you're practicing directed breathing, I'd like to think to you, that's but it's just remembering to apply it. There's lots of aches and pains in pregnancy to practice and be able to apply just softening, and this is just like that.
This is the biggest thing: is you are moving from being pregnant into this data experience, and your message to them is in the last few weeks where you have the Braxton Hicks contractions. This is when to learn how to apply your skills to this experience. So as you drive it in the car, you have a Braxton Hicks contraction, do your directed breathing, soften around the pelvic arc, do your cage cat, do it when you're doing the dishes together as a couple so that you can watch pretend that, so you're encouraging them to be using the skills in this very, very early phase. What Andrea learned, and I'm sure Susie learned as well, that people who use these skills in the earlier phases are more likely to fall into their skill behavior as it gets intense, whereas if people don't use them, when it gets intense, they're less likely to be able to get into these things without it. Part of your job is to say to them, now this is when you're practicing, this is moving into this transition.